Hari Om. So we will continue with the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam Navidussura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Atha Panchamodhyayaha Karma Sannyasa Yogaha Shri Bhagavanuvacha. 12th shloka. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shanti mapnoti naishtikim ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate.
The united one, the well poised or the harmonized, having abundant the fruit of action, attains eternal peace. The non-united, the unsteady or the unbalanced, impelled by desire and attached to the fruit, is bound.
See how beautifully Bhagavan explains here. In the last class, we had studied about the Chitta Shuddhi. A yogi will work for Chitta Shuddhi to purify the self. So here, in this chapter, both Karma Yoga and Sannyasa Yoga, both are discussed here. So it is called as Karma Sannyasa Yoga. This is another way of explanation about the Karma Yoga. So here, Yukta Karma Sangam Karma Phalam Tyaktva Shanti Mapnoti Naishtikim. So when we are all working for Chitta Shuddhi, whatever work we do in our daily life, we should do those work in such a way that it will lead us to the Chitta Shuddhi only. Any work we do, the ultimate goal should be Chitta Shuddhi. It's like, I am doing my household work. I should see that the tranquility of the mind is maintained. There are no stains on my mind. There are no bad thoughts, so that it will remain in my memory for a long time. So just taking care of the mind in such a way, we will have to work. So here what this yogi does, he gives up the karma phala tyaga. One who gives up the phala of the karma, he gets the peace of mind always. What does he get? Shanti mapnoti naishtikim. He will get. When there is no phalasakti, like, just simple examples in our everyday life. Being a household person, housewife, I cook for everybody. So naturally, when I take so much of strain, select the vegetables from the market, come home, cook well, and serve the people in my house, I expect at least somebody to say what you have prepared is good. That is the expectation. Very small expectation. And even if that is not done, all of us get hurt. No simple reason we get hurt. I've done so much. I have tried all my level best to do so nice. Cook so nicely. Not even a word of appreciation. These people won't care for me. So it starts. The same karma, the same duty. This is a simple example I'm giving. The same duty, if I do it without expecting any result. Today I am assigned to cook for everybody. So I have to cook and I have to do it very beautifully. So once I cook and I serve the food to them, whether they appreciate or don't appreciate, it makes no difference for me. Because I have not expected anything. So Gurudev always says, if you go with an expectation, you're always disappointed. So don't expect anything. And if it by themselves, they appreciate, welcome it and just take it. So a yogi here, he does this karma phala tyaga. And he is at peace always. See, the easiest way of keeping our mind in tranquility or being peaceful is to give up the karma phala. And a person who is not stable, what does he do? A person who is not stable, what does he do? He is not a yogi. He will be inspired or he will be moved by the desires. And he always works for the fruits. And he is always looking for the fruits of action. Whenever we look for fruits of action, we will get bandhana, that is attached. We get attached either to the karma or to the karma phala. So a yogi is one who never gets attached to that. And a non-yogi is one who gets attached because he expects this karma phala. That's what is told. Ayukta means one who is not stable, one who is not a yogi. Kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. He is interested in the fruits of the action. He is working for the fruits of the action. So he gets attached. Continuing. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi navadvare pure dehi naiva kurvanna karayan.
Mentally renouncing all actions and fully self-controlled, the embodied, one rests happily in the nine-gate city, neither acting nor causing others, body and senses to act.
When he has renounced this, he is not having any asakti towards the phala. Yogi resides in this body which has 9 doors. It is called as Navadvare Pure Dehi. This body has 9 openings. 9 openings like 2 eyes and the nostrils, mouth, ears. 7 here in the face itself. And the excretory organ and the reproductory organ. These are the 9 openings in this body. So it is called as Navadvare, 9 doors for this body. Navadvare Pure Dehi. If this body, this house or this body where this Atma is living has 9 openings. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasyaste sukham vashi. So what this person, the person who has renounced, he who has given up the fruits of the action, will live happily in this body. He has no problems at all. And he is doing all the work to keep the mind at tranquility. he doesn't ask for himself. He is not bound by the desires. He is not bound by the fruits of the action, and he lives happily in this body. That's what Bhagavan says here. Continuing. Na kartrutvam na karmani lokasya srijati prabhu na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate.
Neither agency nor actions does the Lord create for the world, nor union with the fruits of action, but it is nature that acts.
Na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. It says God has not actually created this. What? He has not created the karmas or the kartrutva bhava. Na kartrutvam na karmani. No means no in Sanskrit. Not the karma, not the kartrutva bhava, and the phalapekshe. Lokasya srijati prabhu. God has not created the karma or the kartrutva bhava. But who then, if God has not created the karma and the kartrutva bhava, who has done that? Na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Prakriti itself, that is nature itself, has created these things. Now let us see how the nature works. When we speak of God in philosophy, or when we were told about God when we were young, it was different. They would say God is like a beautiful person. He never grows old. He is very young, and you pray to him, he will come and say Tathastu. He will give you everything. All those things we had heard. Like Rama, Krishna, Ganesha, go to the temples and pray. That is praying the God in a form. See, right from the beginning, from the school days, we are taught, where is God? God is everywhere. But are we able to pray everywhere, see God everywhere? No, we have not still grown to that extent. That is why our elders showed us to go to the temple, worship there. This is God, God is here, like that. So there we accept God in one particular form and worship him. Later on, when we grow and start studying the philosophy here, the definition of God is principle of existence. That is Brahma. The Chaitanya in me, that thing which is enlivening me, is called God. It is not seen. So how these laws work? God never says, you have to do this work, you have to do this work. If you do this work, I will give you this result. No, God never told that. That is where this karma, phala, and our karma get into scene. See, why am I, if somebody thinks of their own lives and think, why am I like this today? Why am I put in this situation today? It is because of karma, phala. Whatever karma I have done in the past lives is fructifying now, and I am getting the results, good or bad. So God has not created this karma or the karma phala. There is a rule made in this universe that if you are living like this, this will happen. And if you don't live like this, this will happen. So all those things, my today's karma will be deciding my next birth or the phala. I myself, my destiny, I will be deciding my destiny. That's what they say. I will be writing my destiny, they say. So whatever karma I do now, that will decide my future or the next birth or the phala I get. So here, God has not created the karma. See, He has given us the brain and asked us to choose what I should do. So He doesn't choose the karma for us. We choose our karma. Or the kartrutva bhava. And He never says kartrutva bhava is agency. I'm claiming that I am doing that. God never said that there is something called I and you are claiming, you claim that is the agency you are doing. No. He never did that. This kartrutva bhava He never created, or the karma also He never created. It is all because of the nature it is happening. We are used to do that and it is happening like that. So we are not going to blame God now. If something bad is happening to me, I can't blame Him. I have to blame myself. The result, if something bad happens to me, it is something like I had done something long back and that is getting the fruits. Now I'm getting the fruits. If I had done something good and good results are coming, it is like I had done something good and now I'm getting the results. If I want to be good in future also, I should do good karma only. So here Bhagavan says, it is not created by God, it is by nature that everything is happening. Na karma phala sanyogam svabhavastu pravartate. Svabhava. It is the nature of the mind, it is the nature of the intellect, it is the nature of the body to be like that. It's like that. But He has given one good thing, that intelligence, how I should use my mind and body. Right? Continuing. Nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sakrutam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena mukhyanti jantavaha.
The Lord takes neither the demerit nor even the merit of any. Knowledge is enveloped by ignorance. Thereby, beings are deluded.
Then, why is it people say, see, many of them, when even I have asked, see, it is told that we should read Bhagavad Gita. It is told that we should study these Upanishads. It is told that we should study the scriptures. Why don't you join us to study? Those are totally materialistic. Even you might have heard, they say, no, it is not the time for us to read. Maybe later we will see. God only has to give me the buddhi to come and study this. I'm not interested in that. Very easily it is told. But God never says, I won't push you into that. It is your choice. It is your choice to do that. If you want, you do. If you don't want, don't do. If you want to enjoy the materialistic life, then come back, suffer, enjoy, and then come back to this earth again, suffer, enjoy, and go. If you want to be in that cycle, continue there. I have given you buddhi. You just decide. If a person lives like that, that is karma phala tyaga or kartrutva bhava tyaga. Now, I think it's very clear about karma phala tyaga and kartrutva bhava tyaga. Kartrutva bhava tyaga is not claiming that I am doing anything, that I-ness is not there. Kartrutva bhava tyaga. And in that way, nadatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuho. This Atma which is there in us, the power, the Chaitanya, the soul which is making me enliven, doesn't have any lepa. Lepa means no attachment. It is not attached to anything. It just makes me live. That's all. That principle of existence. It is a principle that makes me exist in this world. That's all. It makes me live. So rest of the things I have to decide to do. The buddhis should take over and decide what to do and what not to do. It does not. So Atma doesn't have the Atma doesn't have to enjoy this sorrow or happiness. It doesn't. It just enlightens. Adatte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuhu. Agnane navritam gnanam tena mukhyanti jantavaha. But we are thinking that this Atma is getting all the, I am suffering, this is happening to me. No. Here Bhagavan says, because Agnane navritam gnanam. This gnana, the knowledge which we have, is covered by Agnana. It is covered by Agnana. Because of the Gnana is there. Gnana is there means the knowledge is there for everybody, but it is covered by ignorance. Once the knowledge comes out, this covering is removed, it will be clear. See, it's very obvious that I say when the Atma doesn't have any suffering, why do I say I am suffering, I am suffering, I am suffering? If my hand is paining or if I have a headache, it's always say I'm not in good health, I'm not keeping well. It's we refer to. Whenever I refer to this I, we refer to this body, mind and intellect only, not to the Atma. So here, Atma doesn't have any lepa. That means it doesn't have any, it doesn't get, it's like a lotus in the pond. It doesn't get smeared with anything, whether it is papa or punya, whatever, it doesn't get smeared. It just enlivens us. And, Gurudev gives a beautiful example like, see, if there is a car, beautiful car, and there is petrol in the car. The driver takes the car away, he uses the car, he dashes or he doesn't use it at all. He's keeping the car in the car shed always. It is left to him. The petrol doesn't bother about that at all. Whether he takes the car and puts it or whether the car is met with an accident or it is running on a beautiful road, the petrol doesn't care at all. It doesn't have any effect at all. Petrol doesn't have any effect. Just like that, even this body, when it is enlivened by this Atma, this Atma doesn't have any attachment of Raga and Dvesha. It just enlivens. And whatever happens is to only body, mind and intellect. That's what is told here. Continuing. Gnanena tu tada gnanam esham nashitamatmanaha tesham adityavagnanam prakashayati tatparam. Sir, you should unmute and talk. I don't know, your mic is muted.
Sorry, madam.
Yes, sir.
But to those whose ignorance is destroyed by the knowledge of the self, like the sun, to them knowledge reveals to the Supreme Brahman.
So here, a person who has understood this point, that is Atma, he has the Atma Gnana. Gnanena tu tadagnanam esham nashitam atmanaha. His ignorance is gone. He is very clear that there is some power. This Atma, we'll call it as Atma only, Jivatma it is. Jivatma is living in this body. The Jivatma in this body is enlivening me. he has this knowledge. So for such a person, Teshamaditya prakashayate tatparam. So the person who is having the knowledge of this Jivatma, his knowledge is uncovered. He has the knowledge of this Jivatma, Paramatma and all. For such a person who has this knowledge will show him this Parabrahma Swarupa. See, what is that we have to learn now, that we will see. So there is a principle that makes me live, and that is Jivatma. So this Jivatma, because it is in this body, is called as Jivatma, and it is carrying all the karma phala which is carried, is enjoyed because of that Jivatma which is there in this body. So once I have that knowledge, it will give the knowledge of Parabrahma, Prakash. Teshamaditya prakashayati tatparam. Tatparam is that Parabrahma. Parabrahma is shown. In this philosophy, when we learn, I told you, the principle of existence is called as God. That is Parabrahma. Parabrahma exists everywhere. It is all pervading. And when it is in this body, it is called as Jivatma. One who has the knowledge of this Jivatma, that Paramatma, Parabrahma Paramatma will be revealed very easily. That's what God is. That was Bhagavan is telling here. Continuing. Tad buddhayastadaatmanaha tannityat tatparayanaha Tanishtastatparayanaha gacchantya punaravrittim jnana-nirdutta kalmashaha.
Intellect absorbs.
I'm sorry, your mic got muted. Has it?
Again, I'll read.
Has it?
Intellect absorbed in that, their self being that, established in that, with that, for their supreme goal, they go when there is no return, their sins dispelled by knowledge.
So now, Tad buddhayastadaatmanaha tanishtastatparayanaha. So if somebody has a goal in the life, usually yogi is like that only. We all run outside to get so many things, and when we do not get happiness in the external world, we start looking inside where we can find the happiness. So that Paramatma which I told, the Jivatma and the Paramatma, who the yogi will understand this Paramatma very easily. To understand, and who has the goal of understanding that Paramatma alone, he doesn't want anything else. He wants only that Paramatma. And that is his goal. For all of us, it is the same. But only yogi has that goal unwavered. That means he wants that and that alone. He doesn't want anything. And always his mind and intellect is towards getting that only. It is totally absorbed, dissolved in that particular path, and he is looking at nothing but only that. He wants only that. He is always thinking about that only. So if a person strives for something with so much intensity and he has that quest of acquiring that and that alone, he gets the knowledge and his ignorance is lost. With this knowledge, he will not be born again. He'll go to a state, that is he becomes Jivan Mukta. He becomes Jivan Mukta once he understands this Paramatma Tattva and he becomes one with that. It is like this. See, usually examples given like, this Parabrahma Swarupa, this Brahma is all pervading and the Jivatma is in this body experiencing the fruits of the past karma. Once this karma, that is Prarabdha karma, Sanchita karma, everything is finished, then there is no need of being born again. So a person who thinks in this way to get rid of all the desires and the karmas and not be born again, that knowledge which he gets, with that knowledge, he will not be born again. He will be getting the moksha. That is what. Then getting that knowledge, immediately moksha is not attained. He has got the knowledge now. The yogi has given up his karma phala and he is working towards becoming this moksha, towards moksha, renunciation. He is working towards that. That yogi, how will he be living in this world? See, it so happens they have completed everything and they have gained the knowledge, but still their lifetime is there. Suppose a yogi is living for 70 years. By 50 years or 60 years, he has attained that gnana and he has renounced. Renounced means he doesn't have anything to do in this world. But the arrow is already shot. He has to live for 70 years. What will he do that 10 years? How will he live? He has renounced, but he has to complete his prarabdha now, because that is still there, that he has to complete. He can't just leave the body and go like that. He is renounced. Sadeha Mukta it is called. He is renounced, but still that age which is given to him is not completed. So that person, how will he be? That person who has gained the knowledge of the Atma, how will he be in this world? The next shloka says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Shaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadashina.
Sages look with an equal eye upon a Brahmana endowed with learning and humility, on a cow, on an elephant, and even on a dog and an outcast.
This is one famous shloka of this chapter. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. One who has the knowledge will be very humble. He'll be very humble. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. Brahmane Gavihastini. Shunitaiva Svakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. When he sees anybody, any animal, see it is saying, Brahmane Gavihastina. Even in a Brahmin, or in a cow, or in an elephant, or in a dog, or in a Chandala. Chandala is one who takes care of the dogs. Or it is told as one who eats the dog's meat is also called Chandala. In everybody, he will be seeing Atma only. We all know that each soul is potentially divine, but we are not able to see that Atma in everybody. How to see? See, when somebody speaks, such odd things, how can there be God in him? Maybe we'll say somebody else is good, but not that person. How will this Pandit be? How can this Vidya Vinaya Sampanna happen? If he is having the knowledge of this Atma and he knows the Atma in me, Jivatma in me is same as the Jivatma in all of you. And I want to see that Atma. How to see? When somebody speaks something odd, he will think, from where he will not give importance to those words, whether it is word of appreciation or he is scolding. that person will think, from where is this word coming? How is he able to speak such words? It is because of the Chaitanya Shakti in him. If that was not there, whether this is appreciation or the scoldings would not have come. So he will be, the Gnani will be seeing at that divine thing in him, moving away all these words or his action. Whether it is a Brahmana or a Chandala, he will be looking at that divine thing in him. Whether it is an elephant or a dog, he will be looking at the divine thing which enlivens those living beings. He will never look at what they do, how they do and all. See, that is called as Ishvara Drishti. From change your vision, life will change, they say. How to change the vision is like this. When somebody talks to us, let us not give importance to the words, but just think from where those words are generated. Just because of that supreme power, he is able to speak, or else he would not have spoken at all. So all of us will give importance to that only. So here, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunicha Eva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. See, in this spiritual journey, we should know our progress. How are we progressing? That is important. Or we should know, are we progressing? That's also. So a Gnani's picture, if we will know the personality of a Gnani, we can think that we also should be like that. So here a Gnani is a person who Vidya Vinaya Sampanni. He is humble and he looks at everyone with the same divinity. It is not that he is not able to distinguish between them, but he looks at the divinity in them. So in our spiritual progress, this is a meter. Am I progressing in spirituality? It is not that I have read Bhagavad Gita 10 times, all the Upanishads I have studied, all the Brahma Sutras I have studied. No, all those things if I have studied, and if nothing I have inculcated, there is no meaning at all. If I have studied Bhagavad Gita, at least to a certain extent, I should be able to live this type of life. If I can be able to, if I'm able to be humble and look the divinity in everyone, that means I am progressing in my spiritual studies. So in the next few shlokas also, Bhagavan says how this Gnani will be living in this world. Once he has attained this knowledge, how will he be living? The next shloka continuing. Ihaiva taitita sargaha esham samye sitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te stitaha.
Even here in this world, birth, everything is overcome by those whose minds rest in equality. Brahman is spotless, indeed, and equal. Therefore, they are established in Brahman.
So what does he do? He sees everyone equally. Ihaiva tairjita sargaha esham samye stitam manaha. His mind is always dwelling in equality. If a person can live like that, he is looking divinity in everyone and is treating everybody equally. See, when we see the divine thing in everyone, we can definitely treat them in an equal way, whether it is a Brahmin or a Chandala. That divinity, when he sees, of course, outside, he might be, due to the material life and the role which he is performing, he might be outside acting like that. If somebody asks, yeah, I'm working in an office, how can I treat my officer and my peon in the same way? No. In that particular role, we will be treating them as an officer and a peon only, because he has to play the roles. The roles cannot be interchanged. But equally respecting both of them. That means seeing the divinity in them. He is entrusted to do his role, his work, the peon, and the manager or the company CEO has to do his work. He is respected for the work he has done there. So when we come across such people, we treat them with respect. A person who is having the real knowledge of the Atman and sees the divinity in everybody, that means he is treating everyone equally. Equally in the sense, at the divine standpoint, he is treating them equally, not at the physical standpoint. There are two standpoints here now. One is the material thing and the Atma standpoint. So he is seeing the divinity and treating them equally. One who has the Samatva Bhava, that means he is seeing everyone equally, whose mind is already equanimous. What will happen to him in this world? He will not be in the cycle of birth and death. And he will be with the Brahman. That means now he has gained the knowledge of the Brahman. And when he I just told you he has 70 years of life and 60 years, he has got this enlightenment, but still he has to complete these 10 years. How will he be living? So he will be living, seeing divinity in everybody, and his mind will be looking or treating everyone in an equanimous way, equality. In Samatvam Yoga Uchate. His mind is always stable and tranquil. Such a person will get away from this cycle of birth and death. Continuing. Na prarusyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, stira buddhira sammudaha, brahmavid brahmani sthidaha.
Resting in Brahman with steady intellect and undiluted, the knower of Brahman neither rejoices on obtaining what is pleasant, nor grieves on obtaining what is unpleasant.
This man of realization, how will he be? Because he has a stable mind now and he is seeing divinity in everybody, whatever he gets or whatever he doesn't get, he is abiding in the self. So I think once I had told you the story of the Alexander and the saint. It will be like that. They don't want anything from outside. They are content. Nothing from outside will make them happy, or something that is removed from them also doesn't make them sorrowful. So they always will be abiding in the self. They say even if they get the object they like, see, it is no na prarishyet priyam prapya, something they like so much before getting the knowledge, they had like so many things. Even if they get that or don't get that, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, if the like thing, it's a material thing, Whether they get that or don't get that, when they get something, it is not like, they become very happy, very excited. And if they don't get that, they become very sad. No, it is not like that. Whether they get or they don't get, their mind is always, always, always at peace. So that is how they will be looking at the world. Continuing. Bahya sparsheshvasattatma vindatyatmani yat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshayam.
With the self unattached to external context, he finds happiness in the self. With the self engaged in the meditation of Brahman, he attains endless happiness.
Ignani, a Jivan Mukta, he will never get in contact with the external world. He is always abiding in the self. Vindatyatmani yat sukham. So when he is abiding in the self, that is in the Brahma Gnana, he will always be happy. And at the end also, he will get happiness only. That is Ananda. See here, there is Sabrahma Yoga Yuktatma Sukham Akshayam Ashnute. Sukham Akshayam means endless, eternal happiness he will be getting. So all of us are looking for that infinite, eternal happiness only in this world. When we acquire some material objects, we do feel happy. It is not that there is no happiness in that. But what happens, that happiness is temporary. Suppose I buy a car. It makes me happy at that minute for a few days, unless I see a much good car or crave for another better car. I build a house, I am happy. I buy so many things outside, maybe it is dresses or good food. Yes, all that, those things gives just little temporary happiness, but it goes off. That's why we start looking at another thing. But actually, when we understand there is something called as infinite eternal happiness, and that is the Atma Gnana, and we start looking for that Atma Gnana. So once that Atma Gnana is attained, he will always be happy. He will never get in touch with, once that Atma Gnana is attained and he starts learning to abide in the self, though he is functioning in the material world, he doesn't get attached to those things. With or without that, he is happy. He is always happy by himself. Bahya sparsheshvasaktatma. Sparsha means it doesn't get in touch with that. Touch it means what? He will not touch anything. No. It doesn't get attached to those things. That is sparsha. He is always abiding in the self. See, I told you, once we change the vision, our life changes. How does it change? All these time if we take our own examples, we get connected to the external world so easily, and in such great depth, it is very difficult to bring back our mind. Whereas this Gnani, Atma Gnani, he also is staying in the same world, but he is not carried away by the things outside. He also will see the same thing. He also will enjoy those things, but he will not be carried away by those things. That is the difference between a Gnani and a Agnani. Why is an Agnani carried away? Because he is looking at the external thing only, the material life only. He is looking at those things only. Whereas a Gnani, what is he seeing? Though he is seeing the world with his eyes, physical eyes, with the Gnana Chakshu, with the eyes of knowledge, he is abiding in the self. That's all changing the vision means. Whatever I do outside, I should be abiding in the self, then that happiness exists. Always that happiness will be there. So that is how a Gnani lives. And he gets the eternal happiness. Yeah. We'll stop there and then continue in the next class. Hari Om.